Hello, everyone. Wow, this is a nice group of people. Hello, George. Wow, you made it. Awesome. Guys, this is not the ordinary webinar because I'm not going to be talking a half hour about myself. So I'm going to just get into it if that's okay with everybody. I'm glad to see that everybody's from so many places. And Netanya, you're from Long Island, New York. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. So this is really cool. If you guys can just tell me where you're from geographically, that would be great. I love to see where people are coming from. And we're just going to get started. Let me just share my screen with you. If you have any questions, please go ahead and write them. I'll get to as many as I can as soon as possible during the presentation. I am really, really excited for you guys to be here because I know these are trying times for everyone. So what I'd like to do first is if we can take a moment and just 1 minute to pray for those who we lost during this crisis and for those who are really going through some very, very tough times. And I don't want to discard that. It's an ongoing thing right now. And I'm just so blessed and grateful for us being here and for us being healthy, and let it be continued as far as health goes. And as long as your loved ones are safe and you are safe and you're doing well, I'm praying for everyone. So I hope you join me in that. Oh, hi, Ben. Wow, this is really cool stuff. I haven't seen you guys. This is amazing. So glad to see you guys. Everybody shows their face and I'm not. This is cool. All right. So everybody's ready to get started? Shake your head, give me a thumbs up. There you go. Thank you. Welcome. Let's agree to disagree that you don't know what you don't know, especially in these trying times. We're having a lot of confusion and uncertainty, and I believe that we can still drive and thrive. And the reason I tell you that is because I recently looked at a not a survey, it was more of a science based exercise where there was a train that was going 150 miles an hour, and they put a cement wall that was about 5 feet tall and I don't know how thick, but the train obviously broke that through. And then there was another train right next to that one that's already left the station and running 150 miles an hour. The other one is still at the station because they put one little cement brick in front of its wheels and it could not move. And what that means for us is that this is either a time where we pause and do nothing, or we continue because this too shall pass. And my belief is that this too shall pass. Let's just all stay connected and then we can definitely get through this. Also, perception is what our reality is. I don't know if this guy's looking at you or looking away from you, but it's kind of creepy. But these are also the ways that we see things. Right now, the industry is up in a roar, but it's really not. If you think about it, people are getting hired to speak all the time. And frankly, I just got hired to speak, so I know it's yay me, but I don't want to be boastful, but I just got hired to speak online. And it was a pretty hefty penny, which is great for me. But at the end of the day, I thought that people knew about this. This is how cool this is. This is my perception of things, my assumption, right? We don't assume anything, right? And so for me, it's not where we are at, but where we are going. So things will be different from now on for all of us. And we need to embrace that and understand that. And like Yoda said, you must unlearn what you have learned, because if you've learned anything about this industry right now, it is completely different. It is actually going to be more change than you thought of before, except that the business side of it is not changing at all. It is the same. It's just whatever I'm going to be showing you today, it's all with online and offline. What does that mean? If you were a speaker on only stages around the world, great. But going online is just the same practices, same knowledge, same everything. It's just a different approach with the event planner. So let me tell you a little bit of how I got started in this business. Is that about 20 some years ago, I was asked to speak, actually more less than that, but I was asked to speak at a women's shelter, and I really didn't want to share my story. So what ended up happening is my friend was calling me every single day for 3 weeks. She was, have you ever had an annoying friend that calls you all the time for something and you just don't want to answer the phone? Well, I got to the point after 3 weeks that I didn't want to answer the phone. And finally, I took her call and I said, okay, she's still asking the same question. Do you want to speak at this shelter? And I said, okay, why me? Why do you want me to speak on this subject matter? There's so many people that speak on this. And she said, well, because you have this bubbly personality and people love you, and I just want you to come and share your story. And I said, well, that's not happening. So how do I get you off my phone now? And she said, for you to say yes. She was very persistent. And today I think I'm going to thank her, right? So let's thank Elizabeth. That's one of my friends. I know there's an Elizabeth on this call, but my girlfriend was named Elizabeth as well. And it was a real rude awakening for me because I didn't want to tell my story. And for all of you who are either afraid to speak or are speaking but not doing it often, not thinking your message is strong enough, not thinking that somebody would want to listen to you, it's not where it's at. I was thinking that too. And at that time, I was actually speaking on the property management side of things. I was traveling the world, the country, doing that. But then I went to this shelter and I got myself a coach because I wasn't in that realm. And 3 weeks later, I spoke at this shelter. And one thing happened that really changed my life right there and then. It was a pivoting moment. And I'm sure we all have one of those pivoting moments where we either quit our job and say, okay, I'm going to become an entrepreneur, or we wake up one morning and we say, well, what is my legacy? I should maybe share my message with the world and become a public speaker, or write a book and become an author, or start coaching people on what my knowledge is and helping others thrive in their own life. And so what happened to me was that this woman came up to me crying profusely, and I could not even calm her down. I said, honey, you got to breathe, calm down. She said, no, you don't understand. I said, no, I do understand, sweetheart. You got to calm down. And back and forth we went until she yelled at me, no, you do not understand. And she took out a piece of paper out of her pocket and she showed it to me. And she said, you see here, this is how I was going to kill myself this morning. Actually, I don't remember my drive from my house to the shelter, but I heard you speak and I want to live. I just need you to show me how. And of course, I started crying. Everybody around us started crying. And that's when I realized, wait a minute, maybe my story does change lives. And to give you the 18-second spiel of what I went through is that I was a beaten up child. I was molested 4 times before the age of 14. I was raped 3 times before the age of 22, twice gang raped, 9 months apart, left for dead. And as a result, and I also was married to a very abusive husband, both mentally and physically. And as a result of that, I had 4 abortions and I gained a morbid amount of weight. I was 428 pounds at my heaviest. Now, I'm an educated person, and I'll tell you more about that. But this was a real pivoting point for me to share my story, but I didn't really want to share it. And often, because I was afraid of criticism and of shameness and so on. So often, people who criticize your life are the same people who don't know the price you paid to get where you are today. And this is a truth, I think, for most of you. You know, people don't know what what you've been through, what you've gone through. And even if it doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be super, oh, I broke my 2 legs and I'm paraplegic or anything. Like, it doesn't have to be, because actually I coached a paraplegic. So he is an Olympian and a US Olympian in curling. Great, great, great guy. Anyway, so what happened next was that in 2010, I declared that I wanted to impact the lives of 200 million people by 2025. And basically, I didn't know how I was going to do that, to tell you the truth. But I went to, and I always remember a quote from Richard Branson that says, when the opportunity knocks, say yes, figure it out later. And then Les Brown says, the how is not your business, right? And really, he mentions that, and it really resonated with me. So anyway, I'm in Arlington, Texas, speaking at a very, very big conference. And one of my thing is to go and have some tea in the lounge for speakers. And while I'm there minding my own business, these three guys came over to me, and one of them said, "Aren't you Orly Amore?" I said, "Yeah." "Do I know you?" "I'm sorry, I don't remember." So one of them said, "No, we've never met officially, but I've seen you on the circuit." And I said, "Oh, okay. Phew. Let me introduce ourselves." So we introduced ourselves. And at one point or another, one of them says to me, "I'm just curious, how did you get this gig?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I called, I told them what I speak about. They paid me, and I'm here." They all looked at me like if I had three heads. "You got paid?" I said, "Oh boy, what did I just do?" Right? "You guys didn't?" They said, "No, we got our expenses paid, but we did not get paid." I said, "Oh no, I got paid and I got my expenses paid." So they said, "Well, we want to know how you did that." And jokingly, I said, because I was not coaching at the time, I said, "Well, if I'm going to tell you, I'm going to have to charge you." But just before I could say, "Just kidding," they all said, "Well, just name your price." And then I realized, oh my God, maybe that's the problem. People don't know how to do this business. It is, after all, a business. So let's get into it, right? This is a business. So you need to think like a professional speaker. Know your assets and liabilities. Know what you have and what you don't, and how you are going to go about it. What differentiates you? And here is where the rubber meets the road. You know, if you know how many leadership speakers are in the world, please write it down in the chat box. If you know how many motivational speakers are in the world, please write it down in the chat box. And I'm telling you right now, I don't even know the number. The thing is that there's so many of each kind, and I'm sure you've heard this before. There's motivational speakers, leadership speakers, financial speakers, inspirational speakers, spiritual speakers. There are so many from every kind. And what happens is with this industry is that event planners are kind of tired of that. "Oh, I'm a motivational speaker," and then they don't know what to do with it. So what you do as a speaker does not matter, is how you position yourself that does. And it depends what it is that your passion is, not what you speak about. There is something that my friend Benji Bruce, who is also a speaker for coaches, who posted something that one of the speaker bureaus had posted this kind of a picture of this speaker, and they said this guy is motivational, inspirational, but then they said like he's a dynamic and all of the qualities that this speaker has, but not one word about what he speaks about. And that's the cool part about it. It's the positioning. So that's more important than anything else, is your positioning. Is there multiple streams of income in this industry? Absolutely. Whether you're speaking online or on a stage, whether you're selling books or ebooks, consulting, coaching, royalties, licensing, webinars, podcasts, membership programs, you might have that, online courses. All these things are available as multiple streams of income. Where we are right now, this is not the time to stop and think, and this is the time to get ready for the next wave. This is the time that if you don't have your assets and your liabilities in check, you will be left behind. This is the time for you to take this more even seriously than you did before. Everything that you did on stage can be done online. You will be hired for the same thing. You will be paid the same way. You know, I mean, if they're sending you a check, or if they're paying you through PayPal or Zilly or Vim, with the other, so many other payment plans, right? I mean, that's not the issue. You can be paid. And if you have questions, by the way, if I'm going too fast, please let me know, do the comments, since we're doing this today for the first time in a while. Platforms for speaking, corporations, associations, faith and churches, nonprofits, government and military, college, universities. Now the seventh one is education and K-12, which is pretty new. It's like about maybe a year or two old. But I'll give you an example. One of my clients who thought that her topic, innovation in the workplace, was something that she would have trouble getting hired for online. This isn't, we're talking about online speaking right now, yes? But it does fit for the stage. Well, anyway, she was very skeptical of she hired me as a coach, and then she was super skeptical and really butting heads with me almost every lesson. After a while, I was ready to show her her speaker sheet and teach her the science behind it, but I went one step further. I found her a online government entity that hires speakers exactly in her topic, and their budget was $9 billion. Yes, with a B. And they need people like with her topic. So don't discard government for your subject. Just know that there are some entities, there are so many, it would be too long for me to even go into it, but there's so many out there. 64,000 events a day in America pay speakers. Well, with innovation, her topic was innovation in the workplace. Innovation is all about communication and innovative ideas to bring to the table. Yes. What is the market for speakers? It's $100 billion a year industry. There's meetings, events, they hire speakers all the time. And that's not stopping because of what's going on. Some of it are being postponed. Some of them are taking them online. And the 23.4 million meetings and events that occur each year, that is the amount. If you take 64,000 a day and you multiply it by 300, I don't think it's 365 days, but around that. And the average speaker income is $177,000 a year. So this is a cute part where I got this, and the NSA had put an article out in June of 2017 saying that the average speaker should be making $177,000 a year. And way before that, I used to say that the average speaker should be making $150,000 a year, years before that, maybe even 10 years before that. And it's funny because my colleagues who are speakers used to make fun of me and say, well, some of us make 60, some of us make 70, 80, maybe 100, that's pushing it. 150, you're out of your mind. And I said, okay, you do you and I'll do me. But 10 years prior to that, I was tripling that. So for me, it was inconceivable that a speaker will not make a minimum of 150,000 a year. Now, maybe you're not money driven, but I don't know anybody that pays their bills with a can of tuna. There has to be a money energy exchange. I know, George, you're laughing, but it's the truth. I've had people tell me, look, I'm not money driven. Well, this is a business where you're either there to feed your ego or feed your pocket. I prefer you feed your pocket, because it's easier to be philanthropic when you are speaking from a rich pocket, right? You can help other people. You can do whatever you want for free afterwards. But right now you have to take care of number one. And there's so many opportunities that I wouldn't shut that down. Is that 64K speakers daily? For live speaker? Yes, both. I mean, it's a combination, Elizabeth. It's a combination of both. Yeah. I've been speaking online for so long and got paid. And my client, who I told you about, who wanted the military, she didn't know how to deal with a webinar. She got a call to be on a webinar, and then I coached her to get the right questioning in for their budget. And she said they told me that they have a budget between $5,000 and $8,000. So I told her to take the lower part, which is the 5,000. Well, live speakers did not get shut down. Live speakers really were postponed or were taken down for a reason. There's two things that happened right now, and I just want to answer Elizabeth's question, but if you don't give me 1 second to finish my thought, and I'll answer your question, because it's a very good one, by the way. What was I saying? Sorry. So if, I'm sorry, I forgot what I wanted to say, so I'll just come back to it. I'm sure it's going to come back to me. I don't want to waste your time. Live speakers did not get shut down. They got postponed. And many of the events either canceled, but they canceled short-term. Short-term events got canceled. Most long-term events got postponed. I'm still getting booked for 2021, just so you guys know, because my machine has been oiled very well for the past 5 years. Oh, yes, thank you for that. Oh, that's so sweet. Yes, okay, I will come back to that. Paid speaking online, you started talking about. Okay, so I'm going to talk about both things. One, let's go back to my lady who I helped with her webinar, and I told her to take the $5,000 deal. Why is that? Because she has not built relationship with these people. So the better thing to do is not be greedy. Don't show yourself like, oh, I can get 8,000. Let me get 8,000. Are you even a $5,000 speaker? You don't even know that. She was not a $5,000. She's never been paid $5,000 to speak. And if you got paid once $5,000 to speak, then you're still not a $5,000 speaker. You're in the beginning of that. Try to get that 20 times in a row, and then you can scale. But before that, she was maybe $2,000 speaker. 2,500, I would say start there. But I'm going to show you the schematics of that. And not only did they hired her for the 5,000, but they hired her again 8 months later. Why is that? Because of the conversation that I showed her to do. By accepting the 5,000, she could have said to them, listen, I'm a $10,000 speaker, but I'll work with your $5,000 budget. And I want you to see what I do, and I want you to appreciate my knowledge, and then you can configure it into your next budget. So guess what? She's been hired already 3 times with that same company online. This is for a webinar. She was also hired for a panel, which they paid her very nicely as well. So this is great, right? And so let me get back to Elizabeth's question. You know, how are people being shut down? I want you to think about this. If the events right now that are being canceled are canceled, that's fine. But there's a lot of them that are getting postponed. They're not really getting canceled. Most of them are just being postponed or taken online. If they've already paid the speakers, they're just going to keep going at it. It's already done. It's a done deal. They're not going to ask for their money back, right? The second thing that's going to happen is that for the new date of these events, they are going to have speakers cancel on them. I just got a call like that today. And that's what's happening. People cannot make the next date. So what happens is that they're getting cancellations. Why wouldn't you be in the forefront and help these people? And reach out to them. They don't know you. Nobody knows you. Like some of you may be thinking, I never heard of you. That's great. I'm okay. I never heard of you. You know what I mean? Before I've heard of you, I've never heard of you. But that's okay. There's a lot of people out there that have not heard of Tony Robbins. And a lot of people say to me, what? That's impossible. I'll get to that. So yes, so when I meet people that have never heard of Tony Robbins, I basically do a live video with them and say, would you mind saying this, you know, would you mind saying this into this camera, into this phone? Because nobody's going to believe me that you've never heard of Tony Robbins. But I've done this many times, and there's a lot of people who have not heard because they have not been in this industry or in the self-development world. So how much should you charge? And Elizabeth, you're saying many events are postponed indefinitely. That's fine. They will come back. The world will continue to evolve. 64,000 events. I don't think all of them got canceled. I don't think all of them got postponed. I mean, I think that just some of them will take another approach. Nothing is lost completely. So how much should you charge? There's a lot of people that don't know how much to charge, where to start charging. The first things first is that you need to charge. And the way that speakers have been charging is by saying, okay, this is my value versus industry value. So that's market versus experience, right? How much have you ever been paid as a speaker? If you guys want to just mention that, like what's your biggest amount that you've ever been paid? It doesn't matter what it is. Nobody's going to judge you. We're in a very safe zone. But my point here is that I can give you more opportunity to see if you are charging enough or not. And that's up to you. So here is how much speakers should be charging. This is the industry value, right? If you're a new speaker or a seasoned speaker, it's about 1,000 to great, wonderful. Okay, you're in a very good shape, you guys. And this is how much you've ever been paid. How many times have you been paid that amount? So if you've been paid 20 times consecutively, so I want you to think about the one amount that you've been paid 20 times consecutively, the same or above consecutively. So if you've been paid $1,000 15 times, then you got paid five, then you got another 5 times at four, another 1,000 or 2,000, then you are in the $1,000 range still. So if you're now at 2,500 and you're charging that 20 times or above, any 20 times in a row, then you can scale to 3,000 or 4,000 and you can test the market that way. But never go above in such a dramatic way where you're charging 1,000 and all of a sudden you're charging 5,000. If people are willing to pay you, I wouldn't say no, right? So it's about knowing where to start and how to scale. But this is really what's going on out there. So up and coming corporate speakers, 5 to 10,000, professional corporate speakers, 10 to 20, best-selling authors, athletes, B-list, celebrities, those are getting between 20 and 50,000, and celebrity speakers, which I actually call paid speakers. They're called paid speakers because they don't go after gigs. They don't really look for gigs like Rudy Giuliani or Bill Clinton. Those guys may be bad examples right now, but all I want to say is those people don't really ask to be paid to speak. They just get calls, and that's why I call them paid speakers. They're not really just celebrity speakers. So how to get booked and what do you need to know and do for getting booked as a speaker? Well, your business needs a few things, right? Like your forms, all your forms, your contracts, the way they're going to talk to event planners, how you're going to contact them, your scripts, your calendar, your follow-up system. That's a huge component. If you don't have a good tracking system, you are really missing the mark. The tracking system is the only thing that's going to help you advance in this business. I am not kidding. And there's quite a few forms to have, like descriptions of your talks, but your bio. But why am I saying but after each one? Is because a lot of people think they have their thing together and they send out their bio and it's not in the format that event planners want to see it. And it has a lot of fluff and a lot of pedigree and a whole list of, the laundry list of what they have been and have and so on and so forth. It's really more ego based than it is quality based for the event planner and what they want to see. So when I talk about tracking systems, it's because you got to know your numbers. I always imagine myself selling my speaking to Kevin O'Leary on Shark Tank. If you have not seen that show, it's a show where there's 5 billionaires are listening to entrepreneurs who are pitching to them their idea and are asking for seed money or for investment or for capital for their business. And I always ask myself, how would I answer Kevin? How many times have I spoken? How many people have hired me? How many people have paid me? How much have they paid me? What's my numbers, right, in 1 year? Last year, I spoke 79 times. You guys do the math. I get paid between $5,000 and $12,000, depending. So if it's online or offline, that's where it depends. You're with me? If you have any questions, again, please, comments, observations. I love seeing those. Thank you. So moving on, speakers want to be paid, but forget who they serve. And that's a quote that I came up with about 3 years ago, because what I discovered is I started interviewing event planners for my new book, and that came out in December. I'll show it to you very shortly. And it's called Public Speakers, You're Not All That, 12 Reasons Why Event Planners Won't Hire You. And I basically started interviewing event planners that pay speakers for this book. And what I realized is that all of us were under a different mentality. And what made me different is that I understood the event planner mentality because I was putting on very big events. My Social Wow Factor conference is a pretty big event on a cruise ship, which we won't talk about this year, but on land is very, very cool as well. And what I realized is that speakers don't know what event planners go through. And so they because they're clueless, they don't know who they're serving. Most speakers want to go out there, just tell their message, take a paycheck and leave. Well, there's a lot more to this industry now than ever. And that's why I do what I do. You can't see the picture when you're in the frame. It's impossible that, sorry, I just wanted to make sure I didn't skip anything. It's impossible to know, oh, I'm sorry, I'm trying to move my, boy, oh boy, okay. It's impossible to see where you're at and where you're going if you're in the picture, if you're going through what you're going through. So right now, everybody has put their, like there's a pause button on your video player. There's a pause button. Everybody has put a pause on their business. They're now figuring it out. They're trying to figure out the next step. And I totally understand that. But this is not the time to hit pause. I know a few of my clients are on this webinar. So what I teach you is to do the process. This is not the time to hit pause on the process. You got to continue doing the process because you're going to get hired for online speaking, which is a good thing because some of you were worried about travel and getting your expenses paid. Now there's no expenses paid. So they're saving money on the expenses where they're paying you directly. So you do not want to hit pause on your business. Whether you're a coach, a speaker, an author, you're marketing your book, this is the best time to get that going. Absolutely. So who do you listen to? And why should you listen to me, right? That's a bigger question. Why should you listen to me? Boom. I've been a paid speaker for 23 years. I've never not been paid to speak. So for me, when I spoke to those 3 guys in Arlington, I couldn't believe my ears because I never knew people were not getting paid. I had no idea until I met those guys. That's when I put the Business in a Box for Public Speakers together. And that's what I've been doing since, coaching. And I'm also speaking. Speaking will always be number 1 to me, just so you guys know. I have published a few books, and I'm also the founder of the Global Mentoring Center, which is a platform for speakers, authors, and coaches to get hired. And the reason it's down right now is because of the big announcement that I have at the end of this. And if you stay, you'll know all about it. It's really cool. So what problems do I solve? Getting in front of the event planners, getting a result-oriented business mentality, because a lot of people occupy their mind as an employee. And these times are really forcing people to stay at home, to work from home, to find other revenue streams, and what's the next step, basically. But if they have that mentality of a paycheck, let's say, then that's very, very hard to change. It's the hardest thing for anyone to change. And many business coaches out there will tell you that. Changing the mindset from an employee to an employer or a business entrepreneur mentality is very difficult or challenging, I would say. Getting in the habit of knowing your value so you do get paid. So I don't know how many times every day people get up and say, oh, I want to be a public speaker. That's a great idea. I want to make $10,000 a speech. Everybody's making so much money in it. Yes, but first you need to know where to start. And that's what we talked about earlier. Any questions, comments, observations? I'm just trying to keep in time with you guys because I do respect time very much. So how do I solve this problem? Well, I do one-on-one coaching and my virtual speaker master class, which is a 12-week program. And I don't know if I said that earlier on, but I really have nothing to sell to you, but this is what I do. So I'm just mentioning it. I don't have any price point. There's nothing here to sell to you. So I hope some of you are not waiting for that slide that shows all these products and all this value. And then the $20,000 deal that is really just today for, $1,000. This is not what I'm about. This is all content-based, but I am telling you a little bit about myself. That's all. So through coaching one-on-one and my masterclass program, through positioning in this industry, what I was telling you earlier about that guy who's a speaker and the Speaker Bureau featured him, they never talked about what he speaks about. And that's my superpower. Everybody has one. You all have a superpower, and you know what that is for you. But my superpower is to position a speaker in this industry for today's market. See, a positioning has to be something that when an event planner sees it, they look at it as intriguing. as sexy, marketable. They did a survey on the most stressful jobs in America, 100 most stressful jobs. That was done actually by ABC in March of 2019, and you can look it up. Number one was military jet fighter pilot. Number 6 was event planner. This is no joke. 6 was event planner. So if we're not making their job easier, we're not going to be considered. If you don't send them what they need right away, if you don't send it in the right format, that means you're a complicated speaker and you don't have your act together, so they don't want to do business with you. And that's the difference. That's where I started thinking about, why are certain speakers getting paid and some are not? That's why I came up with the book idea. That's why I started interviewing all these event planners for my book. 3,400 of them. I couldn't take it anymore. I interviewed a little more than 3,400, but I was shooting for 4,000, and at 3,400 people were pushing me to to publish my book. And I was like, okay, you know what? I am sick and tired of hearing the same old thing again. So I'm going to come out with the book. Establishing avenue and direction to get faster results in getting booked. Why? Because through time, I have accumulated a lot of event planners. So I have 58,000 event planners in my database that pay speakers. 26,000 of them, a little more than 26,000 of them, are actively looking for speakers. Now, guess what? I'm as human as you are. I still have 24 hours a day, just like you do. And I cannot be speaking 64,000 times a day. Yes, everybody's with me on that? I know I'm being facetious and dramatic, but this is the reality of it. There is opportunity. And your starting point. Where are you going to start with charging, and where are you going to scale from there? How fast do you want to scale? Not everybody is at the same, you know, I know that some of you met me through LinkedIn, and on LinkedIn, my guarantee is that you'll make $150,000 your first year in public speaking. Well, some people are very skeptical about that because they say, well, how do you guarantee that? Nobody guarantees anything these days. And I said, well, you know what? It's a fair question. I guarantee it because that's minimum wage, number one. But if you do the process exactly like I show you, and you position yourself where I show you, I position you and build your infrastructure, and you get all that, and you do the work, and you show me at the end of the year that you did all of the work, because I know how much work it takes, and you did not get 150,000, which is minimum wage, then guess what? I'll work with you until you do. There's no way you're not making that. Now, I get great questions like, have there been people that you've coached that have not made 150? Well, I would lie to you to say that no, all of them are making it. That's not true. Some of them are making less, but they also call me and say, listen, I didn't want to do the work. I also did, I don't want to travel. At the time, that was the reasoning. Or I have kids and I have other businesses, or I have other things going on, but I'm happy with what I made because I'm tripling what I made before I met you. But the minimum wage in public speaking as of now, today, is 150,000 still. It's like working for McDonald's. I don't know which one you wish to work for, but I still wish to do speaking. Cool? Why should you care about what I have to say to you? Because I've been where you are and can get there faster. I'm eliminating your learning curve right now. If you learned even one thing today, and you can actually post that in the chat box, one thing that I was like your aha moment so far, and we haven't finished, right? Yay. Okay, so I'm going to tell you this. I cut your learning curve by 10 years. What it took me to do 10 years in a row, I am going to give it to you, and you only have to work about an hour or two a day. I'm affiliated to many influencers and event planners, coordinators around the world, and can get you any missing answer that if I don't have it, I don't pretend to have an answer for you. If I don't know it, I will tell you. I don't know, let me find out. Nobody is that good, right? Nobody has all the answers. It's literally, if you see that person, please send them my way. I know where to go to get paid or pitch a back of the room kind of sale successfully. Here's the thing. In today's market right now, if it's online, you're not going to get a lot of chance to basically pitch your program or your book or anything of the sort. That will be done in your introduction by the event planner to the audience. But what you, and event planners that pay you to speak now, they do not want you to pitch. They don't want you to have that slide at the end, unless you are paying them to be on their stage, unless you are, you know, you're paying to play, which I don't recommend no matter what, because that's also killing the industry. And for those of you who think, well, you know, I speak for free, we're going to talk about that too. So who are you in this industry? What are you made of? Whether you're a speaker, a coach, or an author, do you have it together? Do you have what it takes? Are you willing to do the work? Because most people want to make the money, but they don't want to do the work. They just want to wake up and have it show up. Nobody is going to knock on your door, not anymore. See, many years ago, like 20 years ago or so, there were not that many speakers out there. Deepak Chopra and Lisa Nichols, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, and all the like, you know, all these guys, Steve Covey, and etc. All these guys were there already. So if they are coming back right now, it's because or before this virus took over our lives, the economy was doing extremely well, and that's why they were coming back. And now they're just taking their stuff online, but they were already built. If you're going to take something online right now, it's going to take you at least a year to build momentum and a lot of money on marketing. Guess what? Public speaking is still the best and fastest way to get paid for things. I adamantly agree with you on the pay to play thing. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. Yes, I agree with that. But the only reason I say pay to play is not recommended, it's because you don't know how to do it. See, I charge, and Elizabeth knows this, I charge for people to get on my stage. Why is that? Because I don't want every Tom, Dick, and Harry to just come, take the money, and leave. But if they know how to actually sell their product and services, and by peppering their speech and and getting paid coaching clients or something like that, they'll make their money 10 times over. If we have time, I'll tell you the story about pay to play. But right now, let me just get through this so I can share with you. That's the one thing that people don't know. That's just ignorance. If people frown on pay to play, it's because, and they tell you this, it's because they don't know how to do it. That's it. And it's nothing bad. It's just that it's another learned skill, and people need to learn that skill. How badly do you want to reach the masses, you know, people with your message? And are you priced right? Some people are priced completely wrong. They're sometimes underpriced. So some of you may be underpriced. Not everybody knows where they're at, and that's what I do with my clients, but nobody knows where they're at, so they're just charging. I have people who told me, well, I've been paid a stipend, you know, which is like a couple $100 or a few $100s. And I cringe at that, because wait a minute, no matter how old you are, like I'm 53 years old right now. And yes, that picture is recent, so I don't have something else up. But whatever you've been through in your life until this point, all your hardships, all your education, the things you paid with time, money, blood, sweat, tears, until this point, why would you give it away? Why would you do it for free? And event planners on their side is like, oh, well, if I can get the milk for free, why should I pay for, I mean, if I can get why should I pay for the milk if I can get the whole cow for free, right? That's the where the rubber meets the road. You guys need to have value for who you are and not give it away. Please do not. So there's my book. It came out in December. It's called Public Speakers, You're Not All That, 12 Reasons Why Event Planners Won't Hire You. And as you can see, the foreword was done by Bernie Dorman, who's actually the founder of CEO Space. And he has completely knew this was coming. He's so good at predicting. Like, he predicted 5G over a year ago, and we're like in that phase. And he predicted this as well, what's going on right now with the economy and a real estate crash that's coming up. Everything that's happening has been predicted and just not given to the public. This is what everybody's irking about, right? Bill Walsh wrote the introduction to this book, so I invite you to read it, but I have a gift for you at the end of this. where I will send you a copy and I will tell you all about it, why and why. So here are some industry facts. 98% of speaker sheets are done wrong. 98% of speaker sheets. So if you think you have it right, you might have it wrong. And why do I say might? Because you might be one of the 2%, right? So many people use a media sheet and a speaker sheet the same way. And now what we've come up with my team is how to have a digital speaker sheet that is completely with the scientific, results behind it. And that's what I teach my clients and what I build for my clients. So that's there. 95% of speakers don't know how to approach or transact with event planners. They don't know how to talk to them. If they say, oh, we have no money, the speaker goes, oh, okay, right? No, there's another way. What do you say when they tell you they have no money? What do you say when they tell you you're not a good fit? What do you say when they tell you you missed the deadline and you still can get hired? I get hired maybe between 7 and 12 times a year just from those who said they couldn't pay me. Oh, all of a sudden they call and they're like, are you available? And I'm like, do you have my fee? And they say yes. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. They didn't have money when I spoke to them a few months ago. And that's really what you need to know, is how to talk to them. 88% of new speakers are speaking for free, ruining the industry for everyone, including themselves, who do want to get paid. Only 1% of all the speakers in the world are women. This is the truth in every single speaking category, believe it or not. Now, do you remember my first slide had a football field in it? So the football field it's a reminder. I always give the analogy that if you took the biggest football field in the world, like the size of Texas, and you filled it up with all the speakers in the world, beginners, wannabe, part-time, full-time, corporate, trainers, politicians, athletes, celebrities, you put them all in one humongous stadium from all over the world. 1% are women. This is so scary. And the industry is actually starving for more women speakers. Men, don't worry, there's so much room for you. You've been around, but women need to step up. 1%, right? I mean, that means 99% are men. So there's room for you as well. And 64,000 events a day in America that pay speakers. I'm not even talking about the world. This is the cool part about it. Cool? Okay. Life has no remote control, guys. We got to do our own changes. We got to build. We got to become creative. What we need to become right now is not only creative, but innovative and forthcoming, and also proactive, not reactive. Right now, a lot of people are in reaction mode because nobody saw this coming. But there's no reason for you not to react in the right way for the next wave of public speaking. Invest in yourself, invest in your teachings, invest in reading, invest in learning. This is the time. Everybody has plenty of time to do that. So here are the sales follow-up statistics. This is what speakers are willing and not willing to do. And here's where the rubber meets the road again for those who are successful on getting paid and those who are not. Got to see this. 2% of bookings are made in the first contact. 3% of bookings are made in the second contact, 5% in the third contact, 10% in the fourth contact, 80% of bookings are made in the 7th to the 12th contact. Are you willing to do the work? But here's the cool part about it. 48% of speakers never follow up with an event planner. How scary is that? 25% are making a second contact and then they stop because they didn't hear back. You know, everybody got discouraged. Well, I sent out 100 emails and nobody got back to me. That's what I'm hearing from people. 12% of speakers make more than 3 contacts, but they don't stop short of 5 times maybe. But the 80% of the bookings are 7 to 12 times. So what are you doing with your business, even your coaching business? If you had leads and you followed up with them once or twice, you know, something is going on in everybody's life, whether it's now with the coronavirus or it's anything else out there. Because this too shall pass. It will become like the flu. There will be a vaccine. We will get through this. The dramatic and the sad part is that it's quantities of people that are really dying every day, and that's really sad part. But at the end of the day, if you're healthy and we will get through this, then all we need to do is the numbers. It is a numbers game after all, for any business. For your coaching business, if you're selling books, whatever it is, you got to reach out to more people. There's enough people in this planet. A year from now, you will wish you started today. And I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean it, this is really the time to start. So the past hour, would you agree that it's been well spent so far? Have you learned anything? And if you have, I would really, really appreciate some feedback. I can't cover everything in 1 hour. It's really, really challenging. There's so much I want to say, and there's so much I can give you, and there's so much material I can show you. But if you would be willing to fill out a survey for me, just email me at orly.gmc.founder@gmail.com, your address. And well, you don't have to email me your address. The survey will have a space for you to write your address on. And if you're willing to fill it out, then I will send you a signed copy of my book, so you don't have to buy it online. And to get, and if you ever wanted to be a part of my virtual speaker masterclass, then it's an application process. We will only take we will only get you on if we can help you, because I want to get people who are serious about this business. Are you serious about getting started? Are you going to do the work to get yourself booked and touch more people's lives? Like I told you in the beginning, my goal is to impact the lives of 200 million people by 2025. And the way that we're going to do it is together. So I've started this in 2010. We're a little bit over 100 million right now. And that's because my speakers have been out there speaking and touching other people's lives. There are some people that are reporting how many people, and some are not. So I will just go with the numbers that I do have. But I wish that we can actually do this in a more concrete way, and not just what's on social media. So we are really social media more calculated than we are the way that I want it to be. But let me tell you a story. It's a very, very interesting story. There was a guru that was speaking at this event, and he was one of the, he was rich. He had all the bells and whistles, and after he spoke, this young gentleman went up to him and said, "Hey, I would love to be mentored by you. Please take me under your wing." The guru said, "Listen, I don't take anybody under my wing. There's no way I'm going to show you." "Yes, I'm serious." But the young man said, "No, I'm serious. I want to be coached by you." And the guy said, "No, I don't think you can afford me, and I don't think you can do the work." The young man was very persistent, and finally the guru said, "Okay, you want to know how I got to where I am today?" The guy said, "Absolutely." So he tells him, "I want you to meet me tomorrow morning on the beach at 5:30 a.m. So they meet at 5:30 a.m. The young man shows up in a beautiful suit, like one of those top-notch suits, and ready to go, beautiful shoes. And the guru showed up in shorts and a t-shirt. And the young man was confused. He's like, "Aren't we here for a meeting?" Well, the guru said, "Well, you came to know how I got to where I am, right? Great. Take off your shoes, take off your socks, and walk with me." So the guy takes off his shoes and socks and walks with him towards the water, by the way. And now they're walking into the water, and now the water comes all the way to their knees, then to their thighs, then to their chest, then to their throat. And the guru takes the young man's head and shoves it under the water and holds it there completely submerged. And the young man is fighting now to get up from that, and the guru is still holding. And when he saw that he cannot take no more, he let him out of the water. And with a big gasp, the young man did, "Oh, what, are you crazy?" And the guru said, "So when you were down there under the waters, completely submerged, what were you thinking about? Were you thinking about how you're going to get to where I am? Were you thinking about all the struggles you're going through? Were you thinking about having money, no money? What were you thinking about?" He goes, "I was just dying to breathe. I wanted to breathe." And the guru said, "Well, if you want to be like me, if you want to get to where I am, you got to be able to sacrifice what I've sacrificed to get here. And you got to want it like you want air to breathe. You gotta want this business. This is not something that's gonna be given to you. This is something that you wanna have, And by the way, Zig Ziglar used to say, speakers don't retire, they die. So actually, Zig Ziglar spoke 4 days before he passed away. So what you want to know about this business and what you want is that, are you willing, what you want to ask yourself is, are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to do those numbers? Are you willing to get the no's before you get the yeses? Are you willing? So I say, be all in or get the hell out. You know, life is too short to be half-assed. It's either you're doing it or you're not doing it. This is not about trying. This is about doing. And that's how much I am of a coach too. I'm very straightforward. I don't sugarcoat this. This is not, for me, it's been work. I used to sit 12 to 16 hours in front of a computer to get myself booked. Now I do it in less time, but that's also what I teach, because there's no need. In the old days, the computer was not really what we had. I had to phone, I had to call people. And here is the big announcement. We are coming out with a directory. It's a Speakers and Experts magazine and directory, and you can be a part of it if you wanted to. It's a digital directory launching on June 1st, and it's distributed to my list of 26,000 event planners that pay speakers. And the thing is that a lot of people through the years now, I've been coaching for 10 years, so almost 10 years. In August, it'll be 10 years. Many have wanted into my lists. Well, I can't give you my list. It took me so long to build those lists. It took me so long to build this relationship with these people. So if you ever wanted to know more about how to be a part of the directory, just email me at speakersandexpertsmagazine@gmail.com, and it will send you the deck so you can look at it. We are closing the submissions of any ad space on the 15th of May because this issue will be going out on the 1st of June. It's beautiful, and it will be printed a couple of times a year so that event planners have it on their desk as well. Now, the one thing you want to know is that the TV and radio industries have a directory for celebrities and so on. And the reason they have that is because they sometimes need last minute celebrities to come on the show, or they need to plan their shows in advance. So that's where they go, into the directory. So I want to make it now easier even for the most stressful job, which is event planners. And the one thing they hate the most is to hire speakers, because they have to go through all these things. And I'm going to give you one really good nugget in a second, because I know we're ending right now. So one is that I'm going to tell you, do not fill out applications. Do not fill out abstracts or any kind of forms for event planners online. I know that's what you guys are doing, and you're wasting a lot of time, because I want you to think about this. And I know I have like 30 seconds left, but I want you to think about this. Who is reading the applications? Who is actually looking at these abstracts? Unless it's somebody that actually referred you and the event planner said, please fill out this form, then you don't do it. It's the only way that you're going to get out there is by doing the numbers. So we have our speaker training boot camp, and usually it goes for like, I think $39.95, and we're going to be doing it virtually. We are supposed to do it in Sedona, Arizona, the 7th of May, but unless this situation does not improve, we have to take it online. And because of that, we've reduced the price. So if you want to be a part of our speaker training boot camps, there's one in May, in July, and August. That's up to you. Just keep that in mind if you ever wanted to be a part of it. We offer quite a lot of feedback for speakers, and you all get to speak. You actually get to do a speech online, and we give you feedback on that and give you a lot of good nuggets. So I'll open it up for another 10-15 minutes for those of you who want to stay and ask any questions. You can unmute yourself and ask the question, and I'll be here to answer for another, 10-15 minutes will be okay with those who want to stick around. But I just wanted to make sure that I finish on time, and I want to thank you so much for everything that you do for other people, for the people that you touch. And I just wish you all the best, and I hope you continue in your process, no matter what it is. So I'll open it up for questions. I'm just here now. You can unmute yourself, or do you need me to unmute you? If you can just text me on the chat box, I'll open it up. No one has questions for me? I was not that good. Come on, guys. I was not that good. You can just,
Well, I wish I had a question, but I don't know what to ask.
I'm sorry, who is this?
Honey, it's Charlene.
Oh, hi, Charlene. You said you have a question, but you don't know what to ask?
No, I said I wish I had a question, but I don't know what to ask.
Okay. So does anybody else have a question? You're so sweet, Charlene. Miss you, girl.
Hi, Orly. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, this is Natanya from Long Island.
Hi, Natanya.
Hi. So I'm not gonna take the video off because I'm like been home all day.
Yeah, I get it. No worries.
But I wanted to know when you first started. So I'm in the process of I finished writing a book. I haven't published it yet. But I'm also in the process of figuring out what coaching course I want to take. Would you advise me on getting my coaching license first or publishing my book first before reaching out to try to get clients?
I don't recommend either one. You don't have to get certified as a coach. And I mean, I have a certification program, but I know people, coach without having any kind of certification. And by the way, if you have experience and you wrote a program that can help people, then that's coaching.
Okay.
You don't have, and you don't have to publish your book. That's not going to get you paid as a speaker or get you more clients as a coach. It gives you a little bit of credibility, and basically it's an accomplishment. But for all of you, this is one of the myths. That's one of the myths. I have to have a book to get paid speaking. That's not true.
Okay.
That is completely false. And that you have to have a website to get speaking. That's not true. That's completely false. They actually go to your LinkedIn. Make sure your LinkedIn is in order.
Okay.
You know, like many people think those things are true because a lot of other coaches out there have thrown it out. Oh, you need a book. So those people who don't have a book went and panicked and went and wrote a book. Okay. And got it published. I have a publishing house, but I never really talk about it because that's not where my focus is for you to get out there and speak, because then you can get coaching clients. Then you can get your book out there if you wanted to. The book is really a glorified business card, and the website is a glorified resume. This is how I compare those two things. But those are just myths. That you have to be a celebrity is a myth. That you have to have been speaking for so many years is a myth. You can be a beginner speaker, but if you position yourself and package yourself properly, you will get paid.
Okay. In your course, do you teach how to market, I guess, correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's good to start off right than to start off wrong. Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll finish emailing you so I don't take.
Thank you. No problem. What in particular would event planners want to see on LinkedIn? Well, basically everything you would put on your website, just so you know. So if you have video, go ahead and put it there. If you have any testimonials, go ahead and put it there. But when you describe yourself, don't do the I, or don't have the laundry list of things that you have done or things that you have, like I have an MBA and a law degree, and really, to tell you the truth, those two things don't even serve me. I think it's mentioned like the fifth paragraph in my bio, but I invite you to look at other speakers, not only me, but other speakers, and just make sure that you position yourself properly, that you don't sell yourself in your bio, on your LinkedIn profile, that you actually give value. That means you're a giver, not a taker. So think of it from the side of the event planner. Do you have a beautiful banner? Is it nice and professional? Do you have do you brand yourself properly? Do you communicate? Are you reaching out to people on LinkedIn to have, to have as collaborative or as clients or whatever that is for you? Are you having people follow you on LinkedIn? It took me 2 years to get from 4,700 people following me on LinkedIn to 24,000. 2 years, because I didn't go random. I know I reached out to George. Hi, George.
Hello.
Like I know I reached out to George, but it wasn't random. I reached out to him because he's either a speaker, a coach, or an author. It's either those three, because that's who I want to be around with. And I'm a connector, so I love knowing who's out there so I can connect them. Does that make sense, guys?
Mhm.
Cool. Does that answer your question, Lisa? I hope.
Hello?
Awesome. Yes. Yes, go ahead.
When you have a wide range of experience as a speaker, how do you help your clients narrow that focus to what would best suit the industry or themselves as a speaker?
You know, this is great, a great question, because Alicia is asking something very similar. It's not only about connecting to the, so here's the thing, it's about positioning yourself. That's my, like I said, superpower. It's not about fitting your message to the event planner. It's just showing up in the right way. Here's what's missing in this industry right now: variety, diversity, and people who show up. One of the questions that I have for my event planners is, how do you know if I did a good job? Right? How would you know that I did a good job? And you know what most of their answer has been? Just show up on time and finish on time. Really? Really? I mean, how traumatized are these event planners from the people that are speakers? How much are they traumatized? So if you don't know how to treat this industry, that's what's going to set you apart from the others. If you don't have your messaging and your packaging well done, the way that they want to see it, not the way you want to show up. This is not about you. This is about them. And that's another thing that I engrave into my clients. It's about the event planner. Go ahead. Who's coming on? Danny is asking, how much is the virtual speaker masterclass? It is by application only. So you need to apply, and then once you fill out the application, you will know, because these are hard times for everyone. We know that. And so it's really for the serious and the actual people that want to do this. So please email me, orly.gmc.founder@gmail.com, and let me know that you want to know about the masterclass. We'll send you the application, and we only want to work with people that we can help. So we want to make sure that the application that you fill out, which is very short, by the way, I don't like filling out applications. I don't like to fill out forms, so I get it. So it's really short and sweet for you to just give us the nuts and bolts of how badly do you want this. And I'm sure that it can be done for you. Anyone else? I love the questions, though. This is great. This is thank you, Alicia. This is an amazing question. So how many topics should someone be able to speak on? That does not matter. So here's what a professional speaker does. First of all, they have three titles of speeches. It has nothing to do with the topics. Because you have to really speak your passion, guys. You cannot be good at everything. And don't go study leadership if you've never been in leadership. Don't go study, spirituality, because now that's what you think people want. That's not it. What do you like? What do you love? What is it that you're passionate about? That's what you should speak on. So then it's the coming up with three titles for your speech that are not only intriguing, sexy, and marketable. That's what I do with you. I know what is and what isn't. I don't know how many times people have sent me all their titles of speeches and none of them work. None. Not that I'm really boasting on myself, but I've been around for 20 some years, right? And I have been speaking to event planners for the past 5 years for my book. So that's great, but Alicia, a lot of people speak about confidence. Audacious or not, confidence is the word that you're using. But really, your passion is a lot bigger than that and a lot wider spread. And that's what I know that I can prove, is that you are much more than what you speak on. And you don't want to also just confine yourself to one thing. A lot of people said, well, you have to have a niche. That is so old school, very old school. I just told you a couple of minutes ago that the industry needs variety and diversity. So if you're talking the same way that people talked 10 years ago, then you're old school. And we need to change that mentality. We need to get up with the times with event planners, because they are really tired of this same old, same old, same old. So if you send me again if you fill out my survey, I will send you a book, a signed copy of my book, and you would love the 12 reasons, because that will open your eyes even more to what really is going on out there. How other speakers are behaving would make you much better already just by coming to this webinar. I swear. Oh, thank you so much. Awesome. Anyone else? Is your book available? Yes, it is. It's available digitally, and we're working on the Audible. I'm working on actually, this whole situation has caused my studio to shut down for my recording. So we'll wait until I could get it. I'll do it on Audible, and then I'll announce it when it's available. But it is available on Kindle or digital and paperback and hardcover. So but I will send you a copy of the paperback for sure, signed. Anyone else? So we have a few more minutes. Yeah, we do have a few more minutes. I love the fact that you guys are staying on to listen to anybody else's questions, which is great because you learn from other people's questions. That's awesome. And it actually makes me remember to talk about a few things. And so, anyone else? You guys can ask me also my, questions about me if you like, because, I mean, I'm here talking. I know that I did a webinar where people asked me, well, like we see all these guys, they have the house, the car, and so on and so forth. And I say, yes, but some of them also, did you know that some of them are showing you a fake house, a fake car? Did you know that people go into other people's houses and they rent them for a day, make their videos, and then leave? So how do you decipher between fake and non-fake, or just the wannabes make, fake it till you make it kind of a thing? You don't have to, not anymore. You don't have to. You could be you. You could be broke and make money in this business. Yes, absolutely. Event planners book you for online speaking gigs. Absolutely. Especially now, especially those that have no choice now. They have no choice for the next few months. I think, that I don't think that we'll be in this for a long, long, long time. I think it's going to be a few months. I agree. It'll take some time for everybody to adjust themselves. But I just got hired for an online gig for $5,000. I mean, I don't mind sharing these things, guys. My best year in public speaking, I made $532,000. And that's just from the speaking fees, not including all my coaching and so on. There's money in this business, guys, and I'm not kidding when I say that. And I know that some of my clients can tell you that it's work. They can tell you that it doesn't happen so fast, because you got to know the work. You got to do the work. And it cannot be, oh, I sent 2 emails today and that's going to help me. No, it's not going to help you. It's not going to be fast. But I've had clients who have done the work diligently after finishing the program, and within 2 weeks get 2-3 bookings for $5,000. Oh, I love that. Elizabeth, have the content? What does that mean? I don't understand the question. Or is it a question?
I have plenty of content.
Yes.
I just have no idea how to get placed, and I've already spoken to. I just released a book last year on how to. I mean, I know you said book's not a big deal, but the book's pretty powerful.
Oh, of course.
It's called The Way Through Chronic Pain: Tools to Reclaim Your Healing Power.
Awesome.
And it's all about dealing with chronic pain in a non-pharmaceutical way. So that's a topic.
Absolutely.
But I have no idea how to break in to nursing and all the places that need that. That's my issue.
I understand. So one is that don't limit yourself to just those places that might need that, because you don't know what people need. You don't know what event planners need. I'm telling you right now, event planners will bring you in even, and here's a cute one. Would you speak at a toilet paper convention?
It depends on what the subject is.
No, there's no subject. It's a toilet paper convention. They just bring these people. And the reason I say this is because I spoke at a toilet paper convention, and they had these manufacturers, and I know that there was a 2-ply, 1-ply, and machines and all this stuff. I didn't know anything about it. And I was speaking about mindset mastery. What the heck does that have to do with toilet paper convention? I'll tell you why. Because the event planner thought of me as being the one item that would be fun to have around. That, you know, people are going through all these, people are people, right? And so every convention has people. And the people are just human beings that maybe they're suffering from chronic pain. Maybe, you know, maybe, I don't know, but I'm
the statistics are that 25% of everyone across all socioeconomic measures in North America has chronic pain, and 1/5 of the world. So that's like I would speak at any convention, because a quarter of those people are going to be in chronic pain. That's how that works. Yeah.
Yes. So to answer your question, that means you would go for anyone, but it's how you position yourself. So maybe it's not about the chronic pain. It's everything else that you do. I know what you do. And by the way, I want to make sure that everybody understands this. I don't say that the book means nothing. That is not true. It is an accomplishment, but it's not the one thing that will get you paid speaking gigs. It's not because you have a book. It's because you show up, because you package yourself properly, because you position yourself in a certain way. That's why you would get the speaking gigs. Having a book is wonderful. I have a book. Why would I tell you not to? Of course, but it's not the one thing that you need. It's not the must have. Okay, I just want to make sure of that. And of course, there is opportunity for everyone in this webinar, definitely to get booking, like within the next, you know, few months, definitely. But you got to be ready, definitely. I mean, it's fun to go full-time booking with event planners and networking, my passion. Lots of great hard work ahead. Yes, but John, it's hard work, but it's not really that hard. It's time consuming and it's tedious. Other than that, it's not hard at all. It's super simple. That's what I do. I make it very simple. What I used to do 12 to 16 hours a day, I cut it down to an hour. So guess what? You're going to have a lot less to do. Everything is built for you. You don't have to do anything almost. Little bit of homework, very little, and then make sure that you are consistent, persistent, and that you have your ducks in a row, that you have your tracking systems, and that you know what to do with event planners, like rebuttals. What do you say when they tell you to fill out a form? Do you just not fill it? Do you just not answer it? Do you just leave it alone? What do you do? There is a way. And no, Alicia, you asked me if we do also speaker training. The speaker training is done only on the boot camps, because not only do we offer the feedback, you speak a few times throughout the weekend. It is online still, but you speak a few times, and every time you just get better and better, and you get testimonials from everybody that's in the boot camp. You get a video, like a demo reel done for you. There's a lot of things that are included in the speaker training boot camp, and you get to speak a few times. So every time, the evolution of our speakers is amazing. We've had people who have been speaking for 20 years come to our speaker training boot camp and go, oh my God, it's really cool. How do you respond to no from the event planner? How do I respond to no from an event planner? If it's really no, then it's no. Moving on. I told you there's 64,000 events a day in America. Why would you even bother with the one no? You're going to get a bunch of no's. That's not what you're not going to get. So sometimes they'll say, well, no, we've already hired everybody for this year. What do you say then? No, we, it could be, we only hire from the inside. Well, there's an answer to that as well. And then there is also, then we only hire trade speakers. And then there's an answer to that as well. So all that is in the program. And that's why, I'm giving you a lot right now. So there's quite a bit you can get from all of that. I like that. Great advice. Ready for positioning. Yeah, that's really where you need to be. It's the only thing that gets us booked is the positioning. It's the packaging, right? Well, guys, I know I went over, but I just want to give, and that's my heart. I like to give. So if you would give me also a testimonial to this webinar by email, just a written testimonial would be great, or on LinkedIn, whatever you like. I will also ask you to send me your address and send you my book, because I really like to learn from even what I do. I always ask for feedback. I crave feedback. I think everybody should. I don't know it all. I'm not all that in a bag of chips. I think that we are all have room for improvement. And I really want to thank you for being here and staying the whole time. So thank you, everyone. Please be safe out there. Be healthy, and keep your loved ones also safe and healthy. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Have a good night.